Hello and welcome to Money, 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 your weekly personal finance date with me, Surabhi Upadhyay. How much does it cost to transact? It's a question that leaves many consumers confused in today's fast-changing financial services world, from revised banking transaction charges to ATM usage to the cost involved every time you swipe your card. It can get a bit complex out there as India undergoes the big digital payment change. So we thought of getting you some clarity and some perspective from the country's largest bank as well as one of the biggest global payments giants. Let me welcome on the show this week Mr. Rajneesh Kumar, MD at State Bank of India, and Amitabh Tiwari, Vice President, South Asia, Mastercard. Gentlemen, great to have you both on Money, Money, Money. Thank you so much for taking out the time. Now, before we get started, here's just a quick roundup of some of the transaction charges being levied by most banks at present. This is just a sampling. It's by no means an exhaustive list. Now, starting April 1 this year, State Bank of India set limits on the minimum monthly average balance you need to maintain in order to avoid a penalty. Now, the MAB, as it's called, has been kept at 5,000 rupees for metro customers, 3,000 rupees for urban customers, 2,000 rupees for semi-urban and 1,000 rupees for rural customers respectively. The penalty for not maintaining this balance ranges from 20 rupees to 100 rupees. Now, different banks have different norms for the minimum balance. The penalty, for instance, in the case of ICICI Bank ranges from 50 rupees to as high as 450 rupees per month. The same at HDFC Bank ranges from 150 to 600 rupees. Now, this is just the minimum balance math we're talking about. There are, of course, a plethora of other charges. Most banks have also gone back to charging every time you're using another bank's ATM. There are also charges being levied when you are withdrawing or depositing cash at the bank branch itself. And then, of course, there are the multiple other levies, from the standing instructions you may want to give your bank to the inquiries that you might have with respect to your own bank records, old bank records, to something as simple as photo attestation. So there is a price and there is a charge for everything. In fact, let me now bring in my colleague Ritu Singh, who's joining in to quickly give us a roundup of all the different levies at play.
Thank you very much for that, Surabhi. Let's look at some of the basic charges that are levied on customers for banking services. First, of course, is the minimum balance that banks require to maintain in your account per month. For State Bank of India, for instance, I'm talking about the metros only here. It's about 5,000 rupees for ICICI Bank. It's 10,000. Similarly, for HDFC Bank and Axis Bank, also it's 10,000 rupees per month. If you do not maintain this minimum monthly average balance, the penalties could range anywhere between 5 rupees to 450 rupees to 600 rupees per month, depending on which bank you're transacting with. As far as cash handling transactions are concerned, which means any amount that you withdraw or deposit with the bank, it of course is not free of cost. State Bank of India recently introduced these charges. You get 3 free transactions per month, after which there's a charge of 50 rupees per transaction on every consequent transaction. ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank offer both 4 free transactions per month, after which ICICI Bank charges 5 rupees per 1,000 rupee transacted and HDFC Bank charges 150 rupee per transaction. This is, of course, exclusive of any taxes whatsoever. ATM transaction, now this is something that all of us are very closely concerned with. Let's look at State Bank of India. It offers 5 free transactions in metros in SBI ATMs and 3 for non-SBI ATMs, after which there is a fee of 20 rupees per transaction that you make on any ATM. ICICI Bank, similarly, in ICICI Bank ATMs offers 5 free transactions and a 20 rupee charge for every transaction thereafter. For non-ICICI Bank ATMs, there's 3 free transactions in metros and then charges thereafter. HDFC Bank, similarly, 5 free transactions and then a 20 rupee fee for every transaction thereafter. And lastly, let's look at some of the SMS banking alerts that you get on your phone every time you make a transaction. Well, no, they're not really free, of course. It's a minimum 5 rupee per month charge as far as Axis Bank is concerned, and some of the other large banks like State Bank of India and HDFC Bank charge anywhere between 15 rupees per quarter or thereabouts for these services that they offer. So if you look at the whole host of services, there is a charge involved for every services, and sometimes the customers may not even be aware of what they're paying.
Okay, so let me open this conversation with the banker, of course, Mr. Kumar. Now, let me direct this at you. Is this the new normal that consumers will have to get used for paying for almost everything that the bank is offering them?
No, this is not the new norm. This was the existing norm. The service charges have been in existence for quite some time for various type of services which banks provide. The only new element, which is also, I should not call it new, because till 2012 there was a requirement for average balance and charges were levied, and then for 2 years it was discontinued and again permitted by Reserve Bank of India in November 14, and of course we did not implement the change in November 14, and we have now reintroduced the requirement of monthly average balance. The charges are approved by the board of the bank. Various cost benefit analysis are done and costing is done. Just to give you an example, about Reserve Bank of India permits 3 ATM transactions on other bank ATMs in metro areas and 5 transactions in the rural and semi-urban areas. So what does it cost me? The moment someone, a state bank debit card holder, and there are almost 27 crore of them, when they swipe their card at one of the ATMs and withdraws money, straight away I have to pay the bank 15 rupees plus service tax. That is the rate. That is a straight cash outgo, right? And if there is no balance in the account for the continuous period, so what I am committing is that in metro areas straight away 45 rupees per month, and in a rural semi-urban area 75 rupees per month outgo of cash. And just to give you an idea, almost 14 to 1500 crore per annum, that is what we pay to other banks on account of usage of debit card on other bank ATM. This is just an example. Similarly, for maintaining the accounts, IT systems, KYC, guidelines, seeding of accounts. So it is a very sort of labor intensive, though the self-service mode is gaining currency, but still the percentage is very low. And somewhere, at least, if not the full cost, a partial cost has to be recovered from the customers. I may also mention that the bank or no bank in a competitive environment in which we are today in our country would do anything where it loses its competitive advantage.
Sir, allow me to come in over there specifically with respect to ATM charges. And again, I just want to quote before viewers the facts as they stand right now. This is the case of ICICI Bank, and I'm reading from their fact sheet. For transactions at ICICI Bank's own ATMs, first 5 transactions are free. Thereafter, 20 rupees is the levy per transaction, per financial transaction, and 8.5 rupees is the levy for a non-financial transaction that you might do at ATMs. Now, this is with respect to ICICI Bank, sir. Just to get clarity, at State Bank of India, for customers who are using SBI ATMs, is there a plan, afoot perhaps to start levying charges beyond a certain number of transactions, or are you already doing that?
So there are, as I was coming to that there are number of free transactions on State Bank ATMs beyond what is provided by regulation. And if you look at the number of free transactions, I think a customer should not or is not likely to do the number of free transactions which are currently being permitted. And we provide the flexibility also, in terms of like branch to ATM. If someone has not done any transaction in the branch, free transaction, they can use it at ATM. So it is some sort of a package, something guided by the regulation and something guided by our own cost considerations, and which is linked to the average balance in the account.
All right, we need to take a quick break on that note, but this conversation continues on the other side. And of course, we'll also get you some perspective on cards. When you're using whether your debit or credit cards, what are the charges at play? Are these charges going to increase, decrease? What's it looking like in financial year 2018? Back on the other side.